Yep, go ahead.
Okay, you running? Okay, so step one, after we got our drawing done, we're first going to go to specify machining under CAM. Down here it's asking for our initial hole, so we're going to designate our thread point. This is going to be either clicking on this point or typing in a coordinate. If we type in a coordinate, it'd be 0, 0 if we want to set to 0, 0. If we want to just select the point, we can just click on it. After that, it tells us to select our approach element, so we're clicking on the line that we want to lead to. That essentially does a toolpath around that detail. Step 2, we're going to go into set condition setting. We're going to designate our epochs. So first thing we do is select the wire type. It's going to be 10,000 wire, brass. Select our material type, steel. Workpiece thickness, we're going to cut 1 inch. Okay. Basically, we're selecting a die, optimum. We first want to look up what we need to use for the rough cut, because we're going to cut the full 1 inch with the taper cut. After that, we're going to basically just skim the land. So to figure out what we need to use for the rough cut, we're going to select the 1 inch material. Basically select a single pass, standard technology, 1 pass. Search our condition, we're going to use epoch 1231, feed rate of 100 thousandths a minute, offset of 6,000 After we've done that, we're next going to go in and set up conditions for the land. So we're cutting a 1/4 inch land, so we're going to select 1/4 inch settings. We're doing a die, optimum. Let's say we want to do 3 skims on the land, so we're going to go surface finish of less than 30. Again, standard technology. We're selecting 4 on here. That's total number of cuts, so that's counting the rough cut too, not just the skims. Okay, so we hit search epoch. That calls up the conditions for 1/4 inch for a rough and 3 skims. So already we have the first skim, second skim, third skim. The offsets are correct, the feed rates are correct. So on that rough cut, we're going to switch that to our full 1 inch epoch. So manually we're going to type in 1231. Our offset was 6,008 so 680, and our feed rate was 100 thousandths a minute. So we manually select all those. We hit save to 2D cam. We're doing a die, single, machining direction. We can go same direction around every time or back and forth, doesn't really matter. We're going to select uncut because we want a holding tab. Okay, our hold length, we can say 50 thousandths, that's probably okay. We'll hit OK. We then come up here and we select all to set those conditions to our toolpath. Okay. After that, what we need to do is manually input the taper angle. Okay, we don't want to set taper because that's going to basically put taper on every pass. We just want to do the rough cut. So in input, if we click on our approach element, that's going to basically bring up our settings. So on my rough cut and my cutoff, I want to put a taper angle on here. So on here, we're looking for a 1 degree relief angle. So if you look down to the bottom, it shows coreless width / taper. Okay. Biggest thing we got to know here is, do we need to make it positive or negative? So when we do a taper angle, if you're behind the wire, you do a negative angle, the upper head tips to the left. If you do a positive angle, the upper head tips to the right. So since we're going around counterclockwise, if we're behind the wire, the upper head's going to tip to the right to basically hold the land, hold size at the bottom. So we need a positive angle to do that. So within input, on my coreless width here, or excuse me, taper, I'm going to select positive 1 degree. Okay, and then also on the cutoff. Okay, I'm not going to put the angle on anything else because we want it straight. So it's only going to be on the first the first pass and the cutoff. So hit OK. The next thing we got to do is we got to set our Z parameters. So we got to designate Z1, Z2, and Z5. Okay, Z1 is going to basically be where we're holding dimensional size above the table, so we want to hold size at the top of the land, which is going to be 250 thousandths. Okay, Z5 is how far the taper angle is carried out, so basically it's going to be the top of the block, which is 1 inch. And our Z2 is essentially going to be the midpoint between Z1 and Z5, so we can say it's 625. Okay. Hit OK. In function output, confirm you have Z parameter NC output set to on. Okay, otherwise those Z parameters aren't going to be actually put in the program. Okay, once all that stuff's done, we hit create. Okay, after we've hit create, we can hit edit. That brings up the G code. We can manually make some changes in here if we needed to. To save the program, we're going to hit check. We're just going to overwrite program 1200. That's what we've kind of been working with here lately. So we hit yes. That's going to basically overwrite that program, and now we can see we have basically our taper in there and our skims. So the green line is signifying a Z1 plane. The yellow line is signifying a Z5 plane. We know we said Z1 at 250, we said Z5 at 1 inch, so we know our taper is going this way. Okay, but if you are having issues trying to figure out which way it is going, you can hold control on the keyboard, use the arrows, zoom out a couple of times, and then we can visually see the taper going like this on the first pass, and then the skims going straight.